In society, there are certain entertainment values that are considered to withstand the tests of time. These phenomena are investigated by self-proclaimed aficionado Mark Allen and an elite squad of like-minded individuals known as the Special Geek Unit.
Hello and welcome to Pop Culture SGU, the only podcast brave enough to whiz into Professor Snape's cauldron. I'm your host, Mark Allen.
Oh yeah!
Thank you, random citizen. So today we were talking about land. What does that entail exactly? Well, any pop culture, stories, TV shows, toys, etc. about land. For the record, I will not be talking about construction toys, as I feel they aren't really pop culture related. Though arguments can be made for certain Transformers toys, combiners come to mind, I will leave those topics for another time.
I got a jar of dirt, I got a jar of dirt, and guess what's inside it?
When I was a wee lad, I had a lot more than just a jar of dirt. See, I spent hours playing in the sandbox, using a hose and forming bridges with the dirt, and a small river system for my army men to battle it out over. I'll never forget playing in the dirt and using my imagination to battle over the land in front of me. Tanks rolled over hills and through ravines to achieve a better firing position. Mass infantry assaulted their enemy on the other side of the river just to meet their doom at the end of an M16. Of course, that was a long time ago, long before I learned what a horrible thing war truly is. But honestly, how many wars are fought over land? So there's a great quote about land from the much maligned film Superman Returns.
He said, you can print money, manufacture diamonds, and people are a dime a dozen, but they'll always need land. It's the one thing they're not making any more of.
Which is one aspect I want to talk about today. Lex Luthor didn't just have grand aspirations about real estate in this film, although to be fair, this is a spiritual sequel to the earlier Richard Donner, Christopher Reeve Superman movies, which is one of the things that I want to mention today. Let's take a trip back to the year...
November 5th, 1955.
No, Doc, not 1955.
Yes, of course, November 5th, 1955.
What? I don't get what happened.
That was the day I invented time travel.
No, we're going back to 1979, the year the Superman, the movie, came out. With a story by Mario Puzo of the Godfather fame, starring Marlon Brando and Gene Hackman, it was going to be a groundbreaking achievement in cinematic history. Groundbreaking. Well, seriously, do you feel punished? Okay, I'm done. I could sit here all day and trade bad Superman puns. Honestly, that would be less entertaining for you, the listener, so let's just move on, shall we? Specifically, I want to mention the Lex Luthor plot to obtain wealth and power by resetting the West Coast, so to speak. Criminal genius Lex Luthor learns of a nuclear missile test. He then buys hundreds of acres of worthless desert land out west, and has the two 500 megaton missiles reprogrammed. One to detonate in the San Andreas fault, and the other, rather unintentionally, to detonate in an undisclosed location. Knowing Superman could stop his plan, Lex deduces that a meteorite found in the Addis Ababa is actually part Krypton, and is radioactive to Superman. After he and his accomplices Otis and Eve Tessmacher retrieve a piece of it, Luthor lures Superman to his underground lair and reveals his plan. Why is it that the bad guys always do this? Anyway, he tells Superman of his plan to cause everything west of the San Andreas Fault to sink into the ocean, leaving Luthor's desert as the new West Coast. Luthor then exposes Superman to the mineral from the meteor piece, kryptonite, that weakens him greatly. Luthor further taunts Superman by revealing the other missile is headed in the eastbound direction towards Hackensack, New Jersey. Tessmacher is horrified because her mother lives in Hackensack, but Luthor doesn't care or have time for Miss Tessmacher's games, and leaves Superman to die a slow death. Knowing his reputation for keeping his word, Tessmacher rescues Superman on one condition, that he will stop the eastbound missile first. Superman reluctantly agrees after Miss Tessmacher frees him. Superman then diverts the eastbound missile into outer space, consequently preventing him from reaching the westbound missile before it explodes in the San Andreas. Massive earthquakes erupt across California, damaging the Golden Gate Bridge and causing Hollywood sign to collapse and the Hoover Dam to breach, endangering lives. Superman mitigates the effects of the explosion by sealing the fault line, preventing Luthor's plan from reaching fruition. While Superman is busy saving others, Lois's car falls into a crevice from one of the aftershocks, trapping her as it fills with dirt and debris. Superman is unable to reach her in time, and she suffocates to death. Angered at being powerless to save her, Superman defies Jor-El's earlier warning not to manipulate human history, preferring to heed his earthly father's advice that there must be a reason he is on Earth in the first place. He accelerates around the Earth at super speed, traveling several minutes backwards in time to prevent Lois's death. After saving the West Coast, he brings Luthor and Otis to prison and flies into the Sunrise Forest for their adventures. Notice I chose to ignore the whole spinning the Earth backward thing, because we all know that wouldn't work and it would cause more chaos than it would solve. So in particular, let's talk about Luthor's plan to make a new West Coast. Diabolical? Genius? Sure. But my question is this: why not set a large bomb off in the middle of his land in the desert and create a massive lake in the second Las Vegas? Surely he's smart enough to know that he would never get away with this crime and Superman would stop him, right? Well, that is the weakness of Lex Luthor, his ego. If there's one thing he is, it's a narcissist, and his manipulation of others in the system is a great testament to this. So what are your thoughts about the plan to create valuable real estate by causing an earthquake? I want to hear from you. Subscribe and leave a comment below. We'll be right back after this word.
This is the new G.I. Joe Havoc.
Nothing's too tough for Havoc. Nothing's too rough for Havoc.
Look, Cobra Ferret's after him! Yo, Joe!
Cobra's got to face much more than Havoc when Havoc's on the go. Cause out of Havoc comes a big surprise that gives more firepower to G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe!
Live the adventure of G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe Havoc comes with driver, other Joe and Cobra figures and equipment sold separately.
Yo, Joe!
The year was 1986. Oprah Winfrey debuted her talk show, the public charity event Hands Across America. Top Gun, Karate Kid 2, Aliens, and Platoon battled it out at the box office. And playrooms and yards across America were a bit safer from the forces of Cobra thanks to the Heavy Articulated Vehicle Ordnance Carrier, or Havoc. It was Christmas of 1986, and I remember one of the larger presents under the tree was a Havoc. I was absolutely overjoyed. This was larger for me since I never got a whale or USS Flag, so it was one of the largest vehicles in my collection.
You call this military discipline? Cross Country's putting a tape deck in his Havoc.
Now don't you fret none, Beachhead. This here's fighting music.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, every time I play it, somebody wants to punch me out.
The Havoc is one of the toughest vehicles in the Joe's arsenal. It is a curious sight with an impact-resistant tilt-back canopy and a two-person prone position cockpit that take up the whole front cabin. It is surprising that it is actually one of the better armored vehicles to stand a lot of punishment. Nevertheless, it is best suited to short, heavy-fire campaigns. The Havoc is a well-armed vehicle. Its main weapons are the dual leveler 75mm cannons located at the sides of the hydraulic mid-gunnery post. The cannons are recoilless, allowing them to keep moving and firing without missing a beat. A pair of nose guns and a pair of repeater autoload 9mm machine guns at the rear supplement the Havoc's firepower. Should the Havoc find itself being chased about, it has a 4-Lancer bipulse anti-armor heat-seeking missiles which can be fired from the rear. Fully armed, it has a gross weight of 54 tons. Powerful 9-liter, 900-horsepower twin-turbo diesel engine allows it to reach speeds of 40 miles per hour and has an operational range of 419 miles. One of the more interesting features is that the Havoc's rear unit conceals a launchable one-man ground effect vehicle which acts as a backup fighter or an advanced scout. For a small craft, it has a top speed of 60 miles per hour and a range of 80 miles. The GEV's only offensive weapons are a pair of computer-synchronized 7.62mm machine guns. The craft's powered by a 110-horsepower blower direct ignition engine, and its airfoil consists of 2 vertical pitch control lifting hover fans. I myself would often deploy the GEV and set up the Havoc as an operational field base for my Joes to defeat Cobra. The vehicle can hold up to 11 figures, with 3 on each side of the running board, 2 in the rear, top rear gunner seat, and 2 pilots. It does have a variant that has glossy, brighter missiles that look redder than the duller, orangish colored ones that were standard. And this mold was actually reused for the Sky Havoc for the gorgeous Sky Patrol line in 1990. You may remember those vehicles since they were all chrome. They were all great vehicles. I did not have a Sky Patrol Havoc, but I did have a Sky Patrol Shark. It was actually my only Shark, and we'll talk more about that in the episode that we focus on sea vehicles. One thing I'll note for Sky Patrol and Python Patrol lines, they may be reused molds, but they are great examples where paint jobs created practically new vehicles. Now let's take a look at the figure that came with the Havoc, Cross Country. Cross country was a bad cliche of Johnny Reb with his Confederate cap, tactical vest, yet he was still a valuable member of the Joe team.
All right, that tears it. I've taken a lot of ribbon from you all, but now you done gone too far.
Cross country, what are you talking about?
My tape deck. Somebody stole my tape deck. How do you expect me to ride into battle if I can't play my country and western music?
The version that came with the Havoc is my favorite, though, as he looks a little bit more soldierly than his later rendition, putting him in a hunting vest and blue jeans. Yeah, blue jeans. The less said about that, the better. Also from 1986.
Here's the Cobra Swamp Fire aborted our Zartan sisters Arana and their brother Xandar.
Swamp Copper changes color in bright sunlight, takes to the air to continue the fight.
And now you're looking at the Dreadnought's Thunder Machine.
Dreadnought's Thunder Machine, meanest machine you've ever seen, and it's out to get G.I. Joe! G.I. Joe!
Live the adventure of G.I. Joe. Cobra Swamp Fire and Dreadnought's Thunder Machine with drivers sold separately.
The Thunder Machine was created and driven by Thrasher, one of the newer members of the Dreadnoks.
Welcome to the Dreadnought.
I believe you are premature, sir. There is only one applicant suitable for the position of new Dreadnought, and that is me, Thrasher.
In the G.I. Joe lore, it is described as being cobbled together from parts salvaged from a variety of different vehicles, including a 1980s model Pontiac Trans Am, a dune buggy, a pickup truck, and a few others. The Thunder Machine is propelled by a jet engine similar to jet-propelled dragsters. This made it fast, but hard to maneuver. The vehicle was built on a military truck chassis, much like a Humvee. It had armored plating riveted over most of the exterior surface.
Well, walk softly and carry an armored tank division, I always say.
The armor is believed to be from old tanks, and according to Thrasher, the Thunder Machine can take as much, if not more, damage than a Cobra Hiss tank. The front tires were racing tires, adding some maneuverability. Since an engine wasn't required, the front of the truck was replaced with the nose of a 1980s-era Pontiac Trans Am, on top of which was mounted a roll cage and two huge armor-piercing Gatling guns. And it added on to many of the original Mad Max vehicles, which were Australian police cars. The vehicle has a police light bar mounted to the roof. As an interesting side note, Dreadnoks were inspired by the gangs in the Mad Max movies, and the original plan was for them to be bear-like creatures. Writer Larry Hama told Hasbro, "You can't have G.I. Joe going around shooting teddy bears."
Oh, help and bother.
Can you imagine how different our childhood would have been if the good guys were going around assassinating biker bears? Seriously, biker bears? Speaking of Mad Max, I want to talk briefly about the crazy post-apocalyptic world of Mad Max. Sure, the little to no water, I think they feel right at home in the area and topic of land. Mad Max is an Australian dystopian action media franchise created by George Miller and Byron Kennedy. It began in 1979 with Mad Max and was followed by 3 films. Mad Max 2 in 1981, released in the United States as Road Warrior. Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, released in 1985. And Mad Max Fury Road, released in 2015. Mel Gibson starred in the first 3 films, and Tom Hardy took over the role as Max in the 4th film. The series follows the adventures of Max Rekatansky, a police officer in a future Australia which is experiencing societal collapse due to war and critical resource shortages. When his wife and child are murdered by a vicious biker gang, Max kills them in revenge and becomes a drifting loner in a post-apocalyptic wasteland. As Australia devolves further into barbarity, this skilled warrior of the road finds himself helping pockets of civilization, initially for his own self-interest, but his motives always drift into the more idealistic ones. There's so much to say about these great films. Anytime I watch them, I can almost feel the testosterone dripping off my TV and right into the living room. Seriously, it's like watching WWF meets NASCAR. It's no wonder that each film currently holds a certified fresh rating on the film review site Rotten Tomatoes. Mad Max 2 and Fury Road in particular have been ranked among the best action films ever made. In 2016, Fury Road became the first film of the Mad Max franchise to receive Academy Award recognition, including being nominated for Best Picture and Best Director for Miller, and winning 6 of its 10 nominations. Since we are on the topic of post-apocalyptic racing, it's time for... Triple T, or Target 30-Second Tabletop, a feature that I will focus on one tabletop or board game and do my best to sum it up and review it in 30 seconds or less. This week, tying into the theme of land and going right alongside the Mad Max movies, we have Gaslands. Alright, start the timer. Gaslands is a post-apocalyptic tabletop game set in the dystopian future where Mars is colonized by humans, rich humans at that, who at one time declared war on those left on Earth. Now all races are held in the most popular reality sport TV show, Gaslands. In Gaslands, drivers compete to win a trip to Mars and the lavish lifestyle. Many drivers think it's just hearsay and nobody has actually won, and that Mars is indeed a lie. In Gaslands, players take turn controlling a team of 1 to 3 vehicles equipped with various weaponries and accessories, and though there are many scenarios, Death Race is one of the most popular. Models for these cars can be popular toy cars that convert using various bits, plastic, toothpicks, wires, and some imagination. Well, it looks like I went over just a little bit. Gaslands, didn't get a chance to review it. So I'll just say this, go check out Gaslands. It's great if you're on a budget. Matchbox and Hot Wheels cars do not cost much, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Great fun game. So, today we're going to focus during our mask mission on the volcano van driven by Jacques Lafleur with his Mirage mask.
Jacques Lafleur, volcano van pilot. Expertise lies in harsh terrain rescue operation.
Originally hailing from Quebec, Canada, Jacques speaks in a thick French accent and is an expert on natural disasters and a skilled martial artist. Jacques is one of the bravest and toughest max agents, even when not facing a crisis.
Jacques Lafleur and Volcano Van at your service.
Jacques is a lumberjack and carpenter in his civilian job, in addition to being a monster truck driver. Jacques is the only one who could drive Volcano with total precision, though on occasion Matt Tracker would co-pilot with his Lava Shot mask. We'll get back to him and what Lava Shot does in just a moment.
You'll ride shotgun and Volcano here.
It sure lives up to its name, Matt.
Tracker here, assemble mask. Venom has struck again.
Try and stop me, Tracker. Convert outlaw.
Vehicles each sold separately with 2 figures. Batteries not included.
Okay, Volcano, do your stuff. Fire!
Mask.
Wow!
Where illusion is the ultimate weapon. Mask, Volcano, and Outlaw. Each sold separately. New from Kenner.
Released in 1986. What a busy year. Volcano is a monster truck style van that, while in action mode, resembles a mobile gun platform. Matt Tracker is the official co-pilot of Volcano while using his Lava Shot mask. If you're looking to get a hold of a complete one, they are not unreasonable for a vintage 80s toy and are readily available on eBay. When facing Venom, Jacques uses a Mirage mask. Mirage is sculpted kind of like a cross between a praying mantis and a classical interpretation of what an alien looks like. It projects an invisible force field. Jacques and his Mirage mask first appeared in the Season 1 episode number 47 entitled The Lost Fleet, along with Matt Tracker's Lava Shot mask. Since I did say we would talk about Lava Shot, I might as well get it out of the way now so we can discuss the plot of The Lost Fleet more in depth. Lava Shot was Matt Tracker's third mask, and it resembles a hybrid of a dog and a robot. It also shoots blobs of molten metal. As far as the episode The Lost Fleet is concerned, the plot is fairly simple, even by Venom standards. See, every sail and all the sailmakers in Reykjavik has been confiscated by Venom, who planned to use them to create a giant balloon in order to raise the city from its foundations and find the lost golden fleet hidden beneath. Despite a few mistakes, such as Matt talking about using Spectrum while he's wearing Lava Shot mask in one scene, it is a pretty standard mask episode, meaning it is enjoyable, fun, and a bit cheesy and over the top, just like the best of the 80s. And just like Miles Mayhem patience with his minions, we have run out of time. Next episode, we'll move out into the wild blue yonder and talk about air and various movies and toys that have to do with the topic of flight. Until then, I'm exiting with catchphrase, go get popped.